Anthropic's Olah says AI must be guided from outside big tech, Reuters. The leverage shift starts now. Here is the signal that separates noise from actionable change. We will map trigger, incentive shift, and downstream impact before the close. He's saying AI development can't be guided from inside big tech anymore. It has to be guided from outside. Now, Olah isn't some fringe critic. He's a co-founder at Anthropic, one of the 3 companies that actually matter in frontier AI right now. OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Anthropic. That's the tier. So when someone inside that circle says the system is broken, it's worth stopping to listen. Here's the core problem he's identifying. Big tech companies are building AI systems that are becoming more capable, more autonomous, and more difficult to control with each iteration. At the same time, these same companies are the ones being asked to regulate themselves. They're setting the safety guidelines. They're deciding what's too risky. They're choosing which research gets published and which stays internal. That's a conflict of interest the size of a data center. Olah's argument is simple: you can't have the builder be the only judge of whether the building is safe. It's logically broken. Why does this matter right now? Because we're at an inflection point. AI models are moving from research artifacts into production systems. They're being embedded into search, into workplace software, into financial models, into healthcare decisions. The stakes are no longer theoretical. They're operational. They're affecting real decisions, real money, real outcomes. If Anthropic, which markets itself as the safety-first company, is saying that internal oversight isn't enough, that's a signal. It means the people closest to the problem have concluded that self-regulation doesn't scale. Let's break down who this actually impacts. First, AI researchers and companies. If Olah's view gains momentum, it means external oversight bodies will become a real constraint on what they can build and how fast they can build it. That's friction. That's cost. That's slower iteration cycles. It also means regulatory capture becomes harder. You can't just lobby one agency or write one white paper and move on. You're dealing with multiple stakeholder groups. Second, regulators and policy makers. Right now, most governments are still trying to understand what they should even be regulating. Olah's statement is basically saying, you need to step in, and you need to step in soon. That's permission structure for action. It legitimizes government intervention in a space where companies have successfully argued for light-touch regulation. Third, investors in AI companies. External governance adds compliance cost and slows deployment velocity. That affects growth timelines and unit economics. Companies with the strongest safety cultures might actually benefit. They'll transition more smoothly to external oversight. But companies banking on moving fast and breaking things? That model gets harder. Fourth, users of AI systems. This is where it gets interesting. More outside oversight could mean slower innovation but lower risk of catastrophic failure modes. It's a speed versus safety trade-off that users don't usually get a voice in. Olah's statement is actually empowering users by saying, your safety concerns matter enough that they should be factored in by external reviewers, not just internal teams. Fifth, the geopolitical dimension. If the US and EU move toward external oversight of AI, China will face pressure to do the same, but China's governance model works differently. External oversight in an authoritarian system means government control, not independent review boards. So Olah's statement, while framed as a safety issue, also has implications for AI race dynamics between the US, EU, and China. Here's the contrarian angle nobody is talking about yet. Olah's statement assumes that external oversight is possible. It assumes there exists a group of people, institutions, or regulatory bodies that can actually understand frontier AI well enough to make meaningful judgments about safety and alignment. But does that group exist? Most regulators are still learning what a transformer is. Most external review boards lack the technical depth to challenge Anthropic's or OpenAI safety claims with real credibility. So Olah might be asking for something that doesn't exist yet. That's not a criticism, it might be exactly right. But it means the transition period is going to be messy. You'll have regulators trying to govern systems they don't fully understand, companies arguing that external reviewers are slowing them down unfairly, and researchers caught in the middle. What changes next? Watch for 3 things. 1. Anthropic's concrete proposals. Olah's statement is a direction, not a plan. In the next few weeks, look for Anthropic to publish a framework for what external oversight should actually look like. What should be reviewed? Who should review it? How often? What can be shared versus kept proprietary? These details matter enormously. 2. Response from OpenAI and Google DeepMind. If Olah's framing gains credibility, other frontier AI labs will have to respond. They'll either embrace external oversight, which looks like a safety move but also shifts power away from the company, or they'll push back, which makes them look like they have something to hide. Either way, the debate becomes concrete instead of theoretical. 3. Government action. Olah's statement is a green light for regulators to move faster on AI governance frameworks. We'll likely see EU AI Act enforcement accelerate. The US might finally move on its own national AI governance strategy instead of leaving it to NSF and NIST. And that creates new opportunities and new constraints for every company in the space. The deeper implication, AI governance is shifting from companies decide to companies and external bodies decide together. That's a structural change. It means the next 18 months will determine whether external oversight becomes a real constraint or just a compliance theater that companies work around. Olah's statement matters because he's not pushing this from the outside. He's pushing it from inside Anthropic, which is arguably the most credible voice on AI safety in the industry. That's not opinion. That's institutional leverage. Stay alert to how this evolves. The governance question might end up being more important than the capability race itself. For daily intelligence on AI, markets, health, and world affairs, subscribe to Atlas Signal.